Welcome to the Fandom Outpost, your podcast for all things pop culture.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Fandom Outpost. As always, I am Mark, 1/3 your host, along with...
I'm Jim.
Now I'm Bob. Hi, everybody, and thanks for watching or listening.
Outstanding. Serious now, folks. Okay. Hello.
Focus. O-L-K-S.
Apparently, Siri has decided to go
take over.
apeshit.
Enter the chat.
Yeah, folks, that's great. This one is purely fun. We just got together and we were talking about being nerds. and basically that's what it was, being nerds and collecting, if you will, and things like that. So we thought we'd, if you haven't seen our episode about soundtracks, we thought we would revisit that type of formula about some things that are very near and dear to us in our nerd universe, so to speak, our nerddom, which I think is funny because the word nerd used to have such a negative connotation when we were young, growing up. You never wanted to be called a nerd. That was the guy with the glasses and the pocket protector. Is that what it's called?
Right.
They still call it that?
See Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, you can't talk about that movie though because it's all.
Yeah, there's
like
some.
it's like it doesn't
There's
hold
some
up
trouble
because
in
of
there.
Yeah, there is. So, but you know what? Like I go back, ladies and gentlemen, off screen, we were just talking about one of the most manliest of men we could ever talk about, which is Burt Reynolds in Smokey and the Bandit. If you came from a certain time that we did, that was just a fun movie. It was stunts in a fast car and some jokes and prime fucking time Jackie Gleason. Come on, man. So, but yeah, some of this stuff doesn't hold up nowadays. So, anyway, we're going to kind of go through some things that we really are near and dear to us and collecting, so to speak. I'd like everybody, if you guys could. I'm not sure if Jim and I share the same birth of collecting, but mine, I'm not going to go first, but like collecting for us began with, say, comic books. I think back in the day, we didn't really know too much. And then Jim and I, we started, I guess, collecting comic books. That's what you'd call it, collecting comic books. You know, that seemed to be a thing. Jim was an artist, by the way, guys. Like I will make sure I dig up a picture from my youth of me trying to draw superheroes. So don't laugh too hard. No, he's not. These dudes just with their posing and stuff. Anybody can do a pose. But I'm not like Jim, man. Jim has got that talent. But Jim came to it because it was like that artwork was really profound, and then that bred to conventions and stuff like that. And then when Bob came along, I shifted gears because Bob had been collecting cards, sports cards in particular. And then in our lifetime too, like the movie cards, if you guys don't know what the movie cards are, you would have like a real famous movie like Star Wars, and a company called like Topps would put out, 1,300 sets of cards for the movie. So when I first met Bob was into sports a lot, and then he got me into collecting sports cards, which was one of the darker periods because I spent a lot of money on sports cards. Not like the kids today in Pokemon, I gotta admit, but like, we were just laughing the other night, talking about like, a David Robinson rookie and stuff like that, which people nowadays are probably like, who? But, and folks, I was gun to my head, was told that I should say this because you see the big D on Bob's hat over there. So Jim and Bob are in Michigan. And when this airs, we'll say the city of Detroit will either be exploding or it will be exploding, because both ways it could go, either through victory or defeat. But my boys over here, there you go.
The Lions, they're playing today when we're recording the NFC Championship, and it's the closest they've been to the Super Bowl in 30-something years. Well, there's a joke that the NFL is scripted and that the Lions and Chiefs are scripted to be in the final, but we'll see if that actually comes true.
I don't know. I'm seeing evidence all over the place.
I keep seeing that as well. I see that as well, man. there's a lot of people trying to point that out
the
now.
conspiracy theorists, but I think it's fun. But
yeah, it's a lot
like
of
you
fun.
said, it's going to be either mayhem or just kind of, they did have a good year, so I don't think it's going to be a total disappointment, but because I don't think anyone expected them to be where they're at now, but your expectations rise every week when they went, hey, they could get this, hey, they could do that, hey,
Outstanding,
so they'll be
yeah.
disappointed. I'll be disappointed, but hopefully they get over the hump. It's going to be a tough game, but
for those of you just joining us, this is the Fandom Outpost Sports Talk.
Yeah, I know.
We're currently discussing the Detroit Lions, but we'll see what happens. So, anyway, sorry, folks, but that we had to get that
collecting.
out. So, yeah, back to collecting. So we had to get that out. But the first thing I gotta say is that you guys will see a picture up on the screen. One of the things for me is there's an artist, a comic book artist, and his name is George Perez. And if you're in that field or you know anything about comic books, you'll know who he is. And he did some great work. Unfortunately, he has passed away now. He had cancer and decided he wasn't going to do treatment. He was just going to use the time he had left. And that's sad to me. I mean, that's a lot of people fight it for a very
long time.
Yeah, and he didn't tell anybody either. It was one of those things. I mean, us in the community wouldn't know. I had the privilege to meet him over years. I had the privilege to he would draw stuff for me and things like that. But he did a run on the Avengers, and my two, I'd say, favorite comic books of all time are the two that I highlight in that photo. The figures in the middle of that photo reminisce. They're standing actually when he relaunched with Mark Busiek, the Avengers in the 90s. I think they did this run, or it might have been 2000s. But so that's the pose that he had, supposedly in the book, of a statue. And I tried to form it that way, and it's very important to me. But that's that's like my number 3.
I was going to tag on the end of your Avengers thing, and I'm super shocked that no one has ever come out with a statue of that Avengers statue, because I would buy that in a minute, right?
I buy in a heartbeat, right? Like, I don't get that. Of all the stuff that's out there now, why not?
And then I'm gonna.
Come on,
I know we're only doing.
studios.
I know you're doing 3, but I'm gonna do like a 3.5 because I've got.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Tell it what it is.
Yeah, man, that thing. I know what it is, but yeah.
This is
for those who are listening.
Is it the 100th anniversary? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's the 30th anniversary.
30th anniversary, right?
Of the Avengers, and I had a chance to meet George Perez, and he's
outstanding.
Had that autographed.
That's awesome.
He's really well known for his artwork. All his characters look individual to what they are. They don't look cookie cutter, and he has a great sense of design. And he was somebody known for doing really intricate, like, I'll put 100 characters in this comic page, and you'll be able to pick out every single one and know who they are. He's super detailed.
Yeah.
He's a co-creator of the Teen Titans, so if you like those guys, in their current form, their format as a team, then you have him to thank in part. But really, and a lot of the stuff that we enjoyed in the newest version of Wonder Woman comes from his run on Wonder Woman.
Comes from him, yeah.
Tying it really deeply to Themyscira and the Greek mythology. So, okay, but
that makes that makes feel good, because like you and I started that comic stuff together, so obviously we still have a very strong, soft spot for Mr. Perez, and it is very sad that he's no longer with us. So,
but that wasn't one of the things I was going to share. I just grabbed that real quick.
It's still awesome.
So I'm going to pull up this guy, and when Star Wars hit, there was one other movie that came right after it, and trying so badly to get your attention that they blow up a billboard of Star Wars. And it's this movie is known on, if you're a fan of Mystery Science Theater, you've probably seen it on there. It's a low budget movie, and it has it's not great. It's cheese, but it has these guys in it. And what I'm holding up here is a model kit
oh my God.
from a company in Japan called Billiken. And I built it and painted it and put it together and gave him a little base. It's this little turtle-headed alien from the movie Laser Blast.
My gosh.
And it was animated by Dave Allen, who was a well-known animator. But they're fun. They show up at the very beginning and the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
And they're
don't
in the
they talk like the Mars, like the what's that Tim Burton movie? They're
kind
of like
Mars Attacks. They talk like those guys.
Yeah, but they're super fun.
They're fun. Yeah, it's a good movie.
So that's one of my collectibles I really like. It's
if you're listening on Spotify, please check out our YouTube channel to see all these items.
So he's a vinyl model kit from a Japanese company. I think if you go to Full Moon's website, which is the company that made that movie, has morphed into Full Moon. They sell tiny action figures of these guys that are pretty cheap. So,
oh wow!
But, what year would that say? Right after
70, it was like 77.
Right after, like directly.
Yeah, right. It is like the first science fiction movie that came out after Star Wars. Right. But it's very innovative. It's got this cool guy runs around with this cool laser gun that he finds, and any kid who had a big enough cardboard tube to stick on their arm would emulate that. Mark knows. I'm sure he's done it. So
I did.
And it's really cool. So it's fun.
That's funny.
Oh my God. That's
Bob, what do you... Yeah.
We're going to go one each and then go around the horn each time?
Let's do that.
Let's do that. This is great. Oh my God.
One each. Let's see. My topics for most meaningful collectibles probably revolve around sports and Star Wars when I was a kid. Those are the two things. Sports because my dad got me into all this, and that's where it all came from, was my dad's love of sports. And I have to say, probably my favorite sports star when I was a kid in Detroit was Mark the Bird Fidrych.
Oh my God.
Wow.
The Bird, 1976 Rookie of the Year, Mark the Bird Fidrych. I got a chance to meet him at a card show at one of our Gibraltar trade centers and had him sign this, and caught him just before he had to leave, so I was pretty lucky to catch him. And unfortunately, he passed away a few years later with a tragic accident at his farm. And it was really sad that he left us, but boy, back in 76 when I was, nine years old, and
you couldn't get away from it.
It was Bird Mania. He was on the cover of Rolling Stone. He just kind of took over the whole area, and it got into the zeitgeist of the country pretty much. And he made the All-Star team that year. And I don't know if whoever's watching, our fans here, if they know the Bird, Mark Fidrych, but he was known for he was very expressive on the mound with pitching, and they would say he was talking to the ball, but he was really just kind of he was really just hyping himself up. Come on, you could do it. You could do it. I could do it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And he would, like a player would make a good play in the infield, he'd run over and shake their hand. I mean, he was just he just loved the game, and anytime he pitched, he had an outstanding year that year in 76. I was at one of the games I remember, and people would just be cheering for him at the end of the game, even if they lost, and for him to come out for a curtain call. No one left Tiger Stadium back then, and he would just come out and do a curtain call and laugh and everything, and it was just unbelievable. Stadium. There was just no one like him. There's never been anyone like him since, and he just means a lot to me when I was a kid, and I still think of him, and it's sad, like I said, sad that he's gone, but his memory lives on. That's amazing.
I love that story.
Tall, and he was gangly, and there was comparisons to Big Bird is kind of what the thing, the merchandising you would see would be like that. So,
Didn't they play that weird song around him?
I forget the song.
Not the Family Guy one. No.
Yeah, the Family Guy one.
Well, the Bird is the Word would probably be the
Bird is the Word. That's
Bird, the Word. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't!
Oh, well, a bird.
I seem to remember something about that.
It caught everyone's imagination, even kids,
Yeah,
parents, everyone loved him.
I wasn't into sports, and I knew who he was and what
Right,
he was.
that's what I figured.
he was
It translated to everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of a feel-good.
So I thought that'd be a
Sports
fun one to
icons, they
share.
do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, when you can identify with them in some way, yeah. He's just kind of a normal guy. So
Mark
back to Mark.
Fidrich. I love that. Oh, that's a great one.
Right.
I
You're
don't
up
have
next.
any. I mean, sports was not a big thing to me. I mean, it was ancillary, when I met you, Bob. But like, I didn't grow up in a house of sports. Yeah, so
I figured we're all sharing different things. It'd be nice to have a variation of topics.
Yeah. The next thing I gotta admit is it's under a glass case, so folks, I can't really pull it out and show you and stuff. So my wife for the last couple years has gone on and made Indiana Jones really, I don't know, popular in our household. It's not that he never was, but like come Christmas time or stuff like that, she'll be like, well, he's got a lot of stuff. What does he like? Things like that. So if she's got the video for it, I'm going to make her insert it here, just a couple pieces of it. But I have a Grail diary. And if anybody knows Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the movie that came out in 1989, it was basically about the search for the Holy Grail. And in there was I guess Henry's Grail diary. So my wife and my daughter had put together a recreation of the movie using clothes from around the house and stuff. It was really weird, but it was funny because in the video itself, when they were doing this, they made me watch it Christmas morning, and I noticed in the video she had pulled out the Grail diary, which doesn't exist in this house. So I knew something was up because I was like, is that a Grail diary? And then they made me go through all these ludicrous and ridiculous steps to get the diary. I had to cross my kitchen floor just with all Jehovah on the floor and stuff. It was just crazy stuff. But I finally got the diary, and I gotta admit, I probably wept because it's one of those really cool memorabilia things that everybody wants. And now I actually heard there's places that actually sell them. Like you can really you get like really good copies and stuff. But this is one that all the pages are filled out, whether or not they knew or don't know and stuff, but every single thing is filled out. There's recreations of everything that was on screen. And I have it under a glass case along with the Cross of Coronado, which she made and built and painted and created. And then I actually have a Grail underneath there too. But that's stuff that I don't take the case off unless I guess something's going to get added to it. But the stuff that, because my family put such effort into that, it's just holds this place for me that I cannot explain in the world of collecting. I don't even know if I equate it to collecting at this point, It's just it's an heirloom for me now,
absolutely.
which seems really bizarre, but I was just like, oh my God, stuff. And my family knows nothing really gets me. Like I'll be watching stuff and I'll be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like when they put that effort in, I was like, holy shit, I was blown away. So that's one of my top tier ones, my Grail collection, if you will.
Mark mentioned collecting cards, and that was a big deal for me, real big deal for me growing up. I have a couple sports cards that I just wanted to show real quick that were really cool. Would be my Wayne Gretzky, who I'm sure everyone knows that name at least, collected those cards and had his rookie card for Topps 1979-80. I got two. I remember two in buying packs. I tried to save the set that year, but then I traded for one in 9th grade, I think it was, or something like that. I remember trading for one for a kid. I forget what I traded, but I got the better of the deal. I swear to God. I remember the day that I traded that thing, and those are very valuable, but they mean a lot to me because Gretzky was my favorite sports hockey star growing up. And I'll get to that because I have another story for my top one. But and then another cool one
my
is
God.
the Magic Johnson rookie Magic with Larry Bird. This was a kind of a special card. I pulled that out of my dad bought these packs, so he'd bring home a few packs and open it up. And I really wasn't into basketball, but somehow I got that's the best card you can get out of that year. I think it was like 80, 81. So yeah, I got the Bird Magic rookie card.
Nice.
And then as far as I'll probably have to get a better view of this, but during COVID, I was able to kind of put together finally all my Star Wars cards from the original series. So I had a lot of time during COVID to be at home, working at home, and put together all the series, the red, the yellow. Yeah, these are big time nerd stuff. But I filled in I only was missing a few of the stickers, which are always kind of hard to find, not peeled. So you had to find them not peeled and all that, and then I always thought the Wonder Bread ones, the Wonder Bread Star Wars cards.
They're some of my favorites because they're the first ones.
Such cool, such cool pictures. You're right; they were the first ones, and I'll take a little video of that. But those Wonder Bread cards, they're really hard to find in good shape because you get that oily
from the
backing
bread, right?
They were in the bread package, the cellophane or whatever, the plastic bread package, and they'd be tucked in there. And I remember trying to look.
Oh, kids probably
see which one I needed.
So much bread trying to figure out. They were like,
it's like, damn, I don't need an R2D2. I need a Stormtrooper or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're going through the bread rack.
Just smash
loaves
Wonder
of bread this week. No, we don't.
Yeah.
We can't afford Wonder Bread.
Why are you eating so many sandwiches, Bobby?
Yeah.
That's
eat peanut butter and jelly.
Bread. You better eat that thing. Oh my God.
Peanut butter and jelly 3 times a day.
Oh my God.
So those are some sports cards. Those are some sports cards that mean stuff to me, mean something to me. So
that's awesome, dude. Bob has always been a huge Star Wars fan our entire life. And to be a Star Wars fan now is nothing. It really isn't. There's so much hate and heat and controversy and love for the original trilogy. But throughout the years, Bob has always been that guy that's standing out there in front of everybody else. He's like, Star Wars is this. And it's really good to have a friend like that who doesn't trash it. He doesn't put it on a pedestal. He just says, hey, man, this stuff is really good. This is why. And it's really refreshing to have that around you because there's so much negativity. And I'm just going to point out, folks, if you can't see it, right above his left shoulder, I always talk every time I'm at his house, these Burger Chef posters that he's got that you don't see them nowadays. I don't see them come up, but they've always been the coolest things. And for us as kids, they were different forms of artwork, right, Jim? They were, I guess they're paintings. They're paintings on some level,
Yeah, it's a very, they're almost collage, impressionistic collages. But yeah, they're really cool. My friend Jeff tracked down a set of those for me. I have to get them framed, but yeah, they're one of my early imprints of Star Wars memorabilia is Burger Chef stuff.
Is that what it was? It was Burger Chef, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And folks, if you ever see it, I'm sure we're going to put a picture of them up on the screen. But they're very they're just
cool.
different. They're really different than what was out at the time. So
a set of 4 of those.
Yeah, they lent to your imagination, even expanded from the movies a little bit, even.
Yeah, right.
And along with the cards, I guess I should say those cards. What they meant for me, and I'm sure you guys too, when you saw them, was we didn't have very much media for Star Wars back in 77, 78, 70, all those years.
Yeah, they weren't.
It was
ready for it.
The only images you would get would be out of a pack of cards. You really, unless it was in a newspaper or something, or a Fangoria or a Starlog or whatever magazine.
Right.
But it was very few images you would see, and so you'd see the movie and it'd be a lasting imprint in your mind. But then these cards would kind of rekindle that memory.
Yeah.
So it was
a little piece of the film,
to have.
right? Every card's a little piece of the film.
Well, we're not, and folks, don't get me wrong, we're not the cantankerous old men yet, even though we have our next generation that we've birthed and they're doing their own thing. You don't understand the profound sentence of Bob saying we didn't have the media outlet that we had. And I know a million people talk about that, but it really is true. No images, no third-person parties printing stuff.
No
You had
DVDs.
no DVDs. This is a licensed product. So Topps got the licensed product or license from Lucasfilm to do those cards. That's a big deal back then. Now, with the internet and everything, holy shit, man. I can go anywhere and find anything right
Behind the scenes, everything, yeah.
And for years before there was even a home media, it just got re-released every year, because it made money.
Yeah.
They would just release it and re-release it this summer it's coming back. And that's how you had to see it again.
Go see it. Yeah. Oh
so,
my God.
So let's keep moving. We'll go to Mark back for our round 3, I guess.
Well, no, Jim's got to go now.
Oh, I got to go round 2. So, like my space alien from Laser Blast, I'm a fan of stop motion animation, and this particular character from this particular animated feature I enjoyed very much, and it has the added benefit is that I had the chance to meet the guy who sculpted it, and he was a fan of it. That's why he sculpted it, and he released it with the blessing of the actor's daughter, and it came with a signed and numbered certificate. And it's one of these things that, I don't know, whatever it's worth, but to me, I could look at it and it makes me smile every time I look at it. And it is, it's Baron Frankenstein from the Mad Monster Party.
That's awesome.
Get the fuck out
a little statuette.
He's a little resin statue, and I actually have one of the monster, and
That's so cool.
And I had a chance to meet the sculptor of this when my friend Jeff and I were first attending Wonderfest. The artist's name is Tony Cipriano. You can look him up on Facebook. And he does things like he sculpts, the turtles that are monsters from NECA. He sculpts those.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
He started as a 2D animator at Disney, and then became a guy who sculpts the little maquettes that the animators use you always see them in the behind-the-scenes Disney things, the little statues of the characters that the animators look at to figure out how they work on things. So, super nicest guy. He does stuff. He taught himself how to digitally sculpt. He sculpts probably a ton of things for Hallmark, for their ornaments and things like that. Nice. If you go to his Facebook page, you can see all this work that he does. It's really great. So I'll put him up one more time.
That's awesome.
Baron Frankenstein.
That's awesome.
And he has done the monster Fang from it. He's over on my other table, but the Baron is great. So
one more time.
Awesome.
One more time.
Yeah. Look at that fucking smirk on his face. It's so awesome, man.
And if he's got his kind of hands behind his back, and he's really, really a very faithful rendition of the puppet. So
yeah,
it really is.
That's great, dude. I knew Jim was going to have some weird shit, by the way. Bob and I
I'm going to have the weirdest
guys.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim's got the weirdest stuff. I was laying bets with my wife. So I've lost out everything because I'm like, so far I was like, what's he gonna have up there? I'm like,
hopefully we'll have many of these because there's just so much stuff to choose from. So
I'm gonna go through this really quick because it's an easy one. I've been a gamer, and that's a TTRPG person, meaning tabletop role playing games. I've been that since 75, Jim. I guess I'm not sure.
Easily.
Yeah, and to this day I continue doing it. So this room behind me in my shot, I'm going to attempt something here that could be awesome or it could be shit. But if you kind of look, so this is kind of like the room full of crap that's everywhere. That's my TTRPG stuff. But I have loved Dungeons and Dragons my whole life. And I got a standard shot that I took that I could show you guys. But it means a lot to me because I love the fantasy genre. There's a bookcase over there that also, if it was about D&D or that fantasy world, then I had it. And as far as monetary value goes, because I love the fact that we're not talking about that. Bob's the only one that said something about it. But if you notice, guys, when he said his card, it's like it means something to him, not the value of it, even though he could probably buy a new car if he got rid of both of those cards, So it's one of those things that I have a shelf, and it'll be pointed out in the photo that I have almost every product that was released for, Dungeons and Dragons. And I just enjoy playing the game. So this little room that I'm in with the atmosphere around it and whatever you want to call it that I need, whether it be from my minis or it's the table over here that's got like a setup on it, that's kind of just the one of the, the word proud is weird, but like, it's just one of those things that have built itself over the years. And I'm glad that I can still enjoy that with friends and family. I play with my wife and my daughter, who
very cool.
Yeah, love it. So you can see those Lord of the Rings stuff over there too, because they're kind of in that genre. But that whole thing has got statues and just stuff and goblets, and that's just one corner of the room, folks. And anytime somebody is like, "Hey, dude, look, did you see this product or whatever?" I'm like, "No, I haven't. Let me get that." I just enjoy adding to the room as it's become known as stuff. So that's kind of like my top. I love my TT RPG stuff. It means a lot. And the value is nothing to me except what I feel inside, because I get to use all this stuff to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not a dollar value. Yeah. That's it for me.
Me?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a special story to go along with this item.
Ooh, intrigue.
This is I had this framed. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a Wayne Gretzky autograph on a little piece of paper.
Oh, wow.
And I had it framed along with one of my favorite photos of him. I had it all put together professionally. But it's just a Wayne Gretzky autograph on a little piece of paper. But the interesting story behind it is that when I must have been about 12, 13 or so when I played Little League hockey, and that's why I just loved Gretzky playing, because he was so good and such a cool dude. And I tried to emulate him playing, and had the same kind of stick that he used, a Titan stick and everything. I just emulated everything. He used to put baby powder on the tape of his blade. I don't know why, but I did too.
So he was your boy, man.
He was my boy. He was my idol when I growing up. And
man.
We played our team that year in Little League won the division or whatever, Garden City division, and we got to play against a team in Canada. So the Canadian team would come to our town for a weekend, and your player number, he would stay with your family, and then when you went to Canada a few weeks later, cool. A month later, you'd stay in with the same number of uniform number, and you'd stay at their house for a weekend.
Wow,
that's really cool.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we played in Mississauga, which is, I believe, it's like a suburb of Toronto, I believe, and because it's near Toronto. So the fact is that my mom and dad, while I was with the other family, my mom and dad were looking for things to do and went downtown Toronto. And my dad, knowing that we would watch Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, and Maple Leafs were a big deal in our area because Channel 9 would pick them up, and we were, it was like our B team along with the Red Wings. And he went to Maple Leaf Gardens to check it out with my mom, and it was the Shrine Circus or something was there instead of a game that night. So he was kind of disappointed. Wow. He was looking around for souvenirs or whatever. And before they left, they ran into an usher, an usher there. And the usher got talking with them. And my dad mentioned how much of a hockey fan I am. And Gretzky's my favorite player. And the usher said, I work right by the bench of the visiting team. He's like, I can get his autograph if you'd like. And my dad's like, no, you're whatever. And he's like, yeah, give me your address and I'll see what I could do. So my dad gives him the address. And about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks later, I get this letter. I still have a photocopy of it. I don't even know if I could read it. I might have to put that down. It's kind of It's kind of emotional.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough
That
one.
is something. Yeah. Holy cow, man.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Bob has told us this story over the years, folks, and
Yeah,
it's
it's a cool story.
Yeah,
Like, it's
it's
'cause
a
of my
good
dad.
one.
And yeah, the usher name was Craig. I get it that far. He was a really well-known usher. He's from Scarborough, Ontario. So
Scarborough.
yeah, I don't even. I'll put it in their video or something. I don't think I could read
Yeah.
it straight. It's just kind of a.
How
I didn't think it would hit me
amazing-
that hard, but I guess it did.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. By the
I'm
way,
gonna-
folks, I've been trying to avoid that kind of stuff.
I know I didn't
Yeah,
think it would
that's
hit
a
me,
tough
but
one. Yep. I
I'm
knew
gonna
somebody
put
was going to
this-
get hit.
I'm
Yeah.
going to put this out there to anybody that sees this or hears this, be it they on Spotify or YouTube. If you know or know of a way to contact this usher and get this to him, let
Yeah,
him
right.
Yeah.
know of this show and what we're talking about right now, please do
Absolutely.
that.
Craig
Yeah.
I'll
Palfrey,
send you a
P-A-L.
mug or a shirt or
Yeah.
something.
Palfrey. Craig Palfrey was
And
the usher. Usher, Maple
and-
Leaf Gardens.
how amazing would it be to let this man know what his kindness has done all these years later, and that it's felt by someone.
Let's see if I can read it real quick. Dear Bobby, I hope this autograph from Wayne Gretzky will be suitable for your collection. He is by far the best player in the NHL.
Ha!
Maybe... I can't get to it.
Oh man, that is
Yeah, it's tough.
fantastic.
Yeah, I tried. I'll put it
Yeah,
up there.
that's all right.
I'll put a picture of
Do
it.
it. Do it as a short if we can do that. That's amazing. What a fucking amazing story, folks.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish
Like,
I
You
would
know,
have gone
That is. Oh my god.
Yeah,
second
Just-
to last.
that's why it means a lot. That's
yeah,
all
we
right.
should have ended on that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
no doubt.
I left those out of mine. I'm a
Oh.
baby, folks. I can't do that. I've been sobbing here on camera. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. So kudos
Goodness.
to my best boy over here, Bob. That
Yeah, I
That's
tried.
amazing
It was a
That's
tough one.
amazing.
that's
That's
an
amazing.
amazing story. Yeah.
Just from the Little League hockey to
right?
the exchange student program that you guys had. That's
I know.
Yeah, right.
pretty.
Where
That's
did that
really
come
cool.
from? Who has that now? Nobody
Yeah,
has
right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
right.
awesome. Oh my god, that was great.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
So you could tell it means a lot to me.
yeah.
It's mainly because of my mom and dad doing that. So
Yeah. And folks, first of all, don't mistake my laughter or our enthusiasm over that. We love this story. We love Bob so much because of it and stuff. And I knew his dad personally, and so did Jim. And he was a great guy. So,
That's the
oh
things
shit.
that dads
Yeah.
do, right? You
Right.
know, that's the thing that you kind of hope
exactly. We would do
somewhere,
it for our kids too, right?
somewhere as a parent, you kind of hope that maybe somewhere along the line you're able to do something for your kid that they'll remember. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And with
whether
that,
it be
we'll move on to another one.
That got awkward there for a
Let's
minute.
All
let's
right.
lighten it up a little bit. I don't mean to be bringing everybody down. It just
all right.
No, it's all right,
unexpectedly
dude.
hit me.
Oh, that's
So-
great.
In the dark ages before Star Wars,
Oh shit.
science fiction
man.
found its way to us through things like Star Trek and Logan's
Yeah.
Run, Lost in Space.
Logan's Run. Oh my
Logan's
god.
Run. That was probably one of the biggest, sci-fi things to catch whenever it would come on TV.
Yeah.
But then there was a film that outdid them all. And I was a fan of this film as a kid. As a matter of fact, it was my dad who said, "Hey, you might want to watch this," not knowing that my brain was going to melt as I watched this movie. So that movie is Planet of the Apes. Right?
Oh boy.
And we're not going to go into this whole film series because that's a whole other 3 pods.
Yeah.
I used to collect a magazine as a collector called Famous Monsters of Filmland. And in the back, they had this thing called the Captain Company, which was their mail order thing that you could send away for back issues or rubber bats or 8mm films or books or toys or models, you might never get them. But they also usually had a page of masks from a company called Don Post Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy!
And of
Don
course, I could
Post.
never convince my parents to send. At that time, I'm sure $25 was
$10.
huge.
Oh,
yeah,
was it really that high back then?
This
Wow.
one was high. But they had a series of Planet of the Apes. They had 2 series of Planet of the Apes masks: the deluxe, which had hair on them, and then the not deluxe, which had sculpted hair, which was, I thought, actually looked very
better.
cool. Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
to my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had gone with my mother for some reason, to a company called, was in Plymouth. It was called Century Novelty, and it used to be on
Oh wow!
Plymouth Road past Newburgh, and it was a place you would go to get, it'd be like a party
that.
city type of place. If you needed to go get tickets for the bingo and a roll of tickets, you would go there. And they had Halloween masks and stuff, right? So, but they had this Planet of the Apes mask, right? And I was like, I don't know what I begged or bartered my soul or, said for the next 20 Christmases, you don't have to get me anything, and it'll be my birthday rolled into one.
All right. Bargain.
Make that deal with the devil,
Yeah,
man.
right. But so
You don't have to give me anything.
somehow I got this Cornelius mask, because Roddy McDowell was my favorite, because he's like the through line through everything. But
Right.
and I wore it like to a nub, right? I wore it. I mean, I would wear it when we had Ape Week, right? I would wear it. I would wear it, and perfected my chimpanzee walk across the house.
What?
We lost Mark for a quick second. So,
Oh my God! What?
Yeah.
Yo! Oh my God! Dude. Damn!
And
I paid money to see that.
And you could the way it was constructed, you could bite the inside of the mouth to make the mouth move. Well, I wore this thing out. I mean, it disintegrated. So, but years later, I was able to find a copy, almost a mint copy of this thing. So,
really?
I did purchase that, and the sculpted hair ones last a little longer because they're made out of vinyl. They're made out of a flexible vinyl instead of a latex.
Suspense is killing me.
I know.
And that's what it looks like.
Dang.
Oh my God.
And I'm not going to put it on. So, but that's him.
Okay.
So now,
wow.
As I was interested in masks and monsters and whatnot, years later I think it was an issue of Starlog, there was a guy who was featured in there, and he had done makeup he had worked for the Berman Studios that did Close Encounters and Empire of the Ants and things like that, and he had made a couple masks that showed up in Something Wicked This Way Comes, and he also did some stuff for a movie called Tourist Trap with Chuck Connors, kind of a creepy early slasher kind of film.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And so he had advertised for this couple masks that he was selling, and you could send away for, he had a book on how to make masks. But it turned out that what I didn't know, and this guy had also worked on like Buck Rogers making things, and he worked for Universal when they were doing that, Battlestar Galactica. What I didn't know at the time was that he had worked for Don Post Studios during the era where they made this mask. He was the person that actually sculpted this mask. So,
despite that awesomeness, dude, it's still creepy as hell.
So you could do this, like if you like bit the inside of the mouth.
It would,
you could do that. But they had 3 of them.
That's creepy as shit.
They had a Dr. Zaius and a gorilla and Cornelius. So this guy I reconnected with over Facebook. So he's he left Hollywood and lives in Arizona. He had left Hollywood to come home and take care of his parents when they were getting older. So
nice.
Super nice guy though. And he had good he's one of these people, he did the clay press of the Kirk face to make the Kirk mask. So he was there at the time when all that Halloween stuff went down.
Wow.
So he didn't do
awesome.
anything to make the mask, but he was there when it was. So yeah, and he has good memories of working there. And as a matter of fact, in a connection, he worked there at the same time as a guy by the name of Steve Neal, who was a Hollywood makeup artist who worked on things like Star Trek: The Motion Picture and Ghostbusters. And Steve Neal was also played the original alien that this guy comes down to shoot in Laser Blast, and that's why the gun is left for the other guy to find. So now
tie that story in. Holy cow!
But that's it. So that's I mean, I have many other masks that all have great stories, especially a lot with my friend Jeff Wehinkle, that sculpts things amazingly. I've got one that's a Jason mask back there. That's the first time I ever went to his house. He was sculpting that, and so
that's awesome.
That was the first time we got to hang out. So
nice.
That's awesome.
Well, folks, I think that
tip of the vault. So
I was going to say, yeah, this might turn into just us sharing some stuff, even though we're kind of going with this is what really meant something to us. I think that this could turn into, let's just showcase some stuff. You know what I mean? Showcase collectibles and stuff. Rob will come up with a nice witty name for it. So is that Wayne Gretzky on that statue sitting behind you, Bob?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a McFarlane.
Yeah. That's good. That's real good. Yeah, those are good stories, fellas.
Those are.
Do we have any things? Any regrets? Do we want to talk about that?
I wasn't trying to bring emotion to my
Bring
stuff.
It down.
I mean, I know I sold off some things that I wish I could have held on to, some original Star Wars vehicles and things, ships, and I just ran out of room, and I kind of wish I held on to some of them, but I just couldn't, and I kind of regret getting rid of some of those things, but sometimes you gotta jettison certain things to get new things, and
I guess, you
run out of space.
Yeah, you run out of space. That's it. I got a really weird one. That's this is the disclaimer, folks. It was a different time back then. So back in the day, if we had childlike firearms and stuff like that, you didn't have the orange tips or stuff like that. Things. I'm a huge fan of, I guess, movie replica firearms. If you could say like, oh, that's Snake Plissken's gun. You know what I mean? So in toy versions, let's just be clear. I'm not a kook where I'm like, I got to buy a real gun to be like, no, it wasn't like that. I like the idea of, what do they call those now? Like, is it, I guess, props? I don't know what you'd call that kind of stuff. You know, like the fake swords. Those hanging up, folks, those are not real swords. I'm not spending that kind of money. Sorry. You know, to my son-in-law, Chris, who buys the real shit.
You don't need to behead anybody on a whim.
No. You know, although Nikki seems to feel if somebody broke in, you just grab some stuff and go.
You could probably scare the shit out of them.
Yeah. But I like prop firearms. And my biggest regret is that there used to be, I'll never find it. I've done the research and I can't find it. Overseas, there are Japanese companies that had lesser restrictions than we had here in the United States. And in some certain hobby stores, their stuff would make their way to us. So as I was younger, their stuff would make their way, and I would have a couple blowback
those are
firearms.
Neat.
Yeah, they were really neat. And so Axel Foley's pistol from Beverly Hills Cop, things like that. Well, I had a Dirty Harry one, and I held onto it for years, and it's a Smith & this is how weird I'm about to get. Smith & Wesson Model 29 6-inch barrel. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan, huge Dirty Harry fan, and that Japanese company made that, along with shells and everything eject. It was a fully working model. Well, it broke one day, and I never got around to fixing it. Just the handle broke. It was a simple piece of the handle that you would hold. But moving into my golden age here, or silver age, if you want to call it, I was like, I don't need that kind of stuff no more. So to go with Bob on where you had to liquidate in space and stuff, that was one of the things. That is my biggest regret, because in today's collectible age, I cannot find that anywhere. I can't find another model That company's long out of business, and I just can't find it. So that is one of my biggest regrets of just pitching that because it was broken and didn't work anymore. When I could have just like glued it and held it on the shelf. You know what I mean?
Put it in the shadow box.
Still would have looked pretty cool. Yeah, well, thanks for that. I didn't think about that till now.
A little late.
Yeah, shadow box would have been damn nice.
That's funny.
Shit.
I've had some masks and things that, times were tight and things happen, and you just, cue to the beginning of Up when they keep having to break their piggy bank in order to fix their car or do what else, and then and they had custom work done on it, but I've kind of come to the realization that there's a season for everything, and I know that wherever it went on the Four Winds, that someone's enjoying it. So,
right.
There was I remember there was an Indiana Jones sideshow statue that I had to kind of opt out of. That was really cool, wow. And he was holding the golden idol. It's probably one of the better likenesses I've seen of him. Had like a real leather jacket, but like. I have, I don't feel so bad about that one because come to find out later on that pleather on that jacket all peeled and everybody was not
peels, cracks, and makes it nasty.
Because it was cheaply made, didn't stand up to the test of time. So dodged a bullet. I guess. That's funny. So
it was no members only.
It was not a members only to bring it around to the beginning. Had it been a cloth jacket, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. That was on the cusp. The cutting edge.
Fucking members only. Oh my God.
I could never afford it.
I bought that at Wonderland Mall before it was enclosed.
Yeah, the outdoor mall.
Even I remember that.
I'm jealous because I could never afford a members only in high school. So yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I have to knock off.
You know what?
Well, let me quantify that. It was at least a members only style. I can't remember if it was a true members only.
Right.
The fact that I had such a hard time finding it said members only.
Yeah, it would say members only there if it was, but yeah. We found a picture of that. It wasn't
quite the Rocky IV Adidas sweatsuit that I had.
With the stripes?
With the stripes, yeah. It wasn't that.
We have officially, folks, we've gone off the rails now.
Yeah, I think we have to reel it in.
This will end the podcast on that note.
Oh my God! Yeah, we're going to revisit this, folks.
Wear it. Just imagine Polly.
That's great, dude. Yeah.
Just imagine Polly wearing it. We'll be good.
It. Oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, we'll just continue this and just happen to showcase some stuff from now on. This one was a lot of fun. It took a turn that, and I'm not picking on Bob. I love the fact that he shared that story.
A great turn.
Yeah, that was just. I mean, that was totally unexpected, and I love it. But maybe, folks, we can, pull a few more of these out of our hat further down the line and stuff, and just showcase some stuff.
What about
by the way, you're going right where I was going. So why don't you say it, Jim?
Our listeners and viewers, do you have something that's like this? Do you have something that you regret letting go, or something that means just something to you? It doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything I have in this
monetary value,
right?
Yeah, the monetary value is the least important part of any of the thing I own. So
absolutely, that's why I love the stories that you guys have with that are phenomenal. I do have to ask this for the end: where does it all go? When it's our time,
always bring that up.
That's the next
I do, don't I, dude? Because, dude, I'm looking at stuff and I don't dwell on it. But I bring it up to you guys, like, where does it go? I mean, like Bob's Star Wars story is amazing. You know what I mean? So where does it all go when we're done? What do we do with it? So
hopefully we have family members that will know how to get value out of it, either sentimentally or monetarily.
Yeah.
I've
contemplated putting together a book that says this thing here, don't let it go for any less than this. Keep it if it means something to you. Donate it. This garbage. This.
Yeah.
I've had a couple friends that have been collectors that have passed, and this is a thing. This is a Maybe a bigger
it's a real
topic for
thing,
another
isn't it?
time.
Yep. Right.
And it's
I
also
think
why we need to enjoy the things we have now.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Jim, who is not really that much of a downer, but still, I think this is how we should end it. He's got a really great point for you collectors out there. If you can't showcase it, why are you collecting it? You know, what's the point of it? Unless it's like a rare, weird thing. Like, I don't have the space to put action figures on the wall. I mean, we all know that. But I do collect the Star Wars vintage, you know. And yes, they are going into a tub right now. But I don't give them up yet because I hold out hope that one day I am going to be able to display those somehow. You know, I just don't know yet. But Jim said that best. It was really poignant. Put up what you love and stare at what you love. And if you can't, what's the point of doing it? So that's a great.
These are all shrines to our childhood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much.
Yep, absolutely.
So
it is. It is. That's why. Sorry to be such a downer on you, Bob, but that's why I always ask what happens with it, because it's not our next generation's childhood. We would be forcing our childhood onto them. You know what I mean? So mine will become a monetary value. I will make sure of that, folks, and I will give that to my generation. Said, this is my contribution to your future. Do with it what you will. Find something that you love to do with it. So that's how I am. Yeah.
All right. Well,
take
should
us
we
out,
end it
Bob?
there? All right.
Take us out, buddy.
Please follow us at the Fandom Outpost on social media. And like Jim mentioned, share with us some stories of your favorite collectibles or things that mean something to you or things you missed out on or had to give up on. Even if it's an ape mask or whatever. But
go
share
Lions!
Those on Facebook. We'd love, go Lions. We'd love to see your stories on our Facebook page at the Fandom Outpost. And check out us on Instagram and wherever you get your podcasts. And this was a fun episode. I hope
extremely fun. Yeah.
I hope everyone got something out of it and maybe spurs them to enjoy their collections.
Absolutely. That was great. All right. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next time on the Fandom Outpost.
See ya.
Outstanding.